everyone. I'm Jessica Dean, taking a Bachelor of Elementary Education. So in this video, I'm going to report and discuss to you about my favorite artists in every form of arts, and I will give one example of their artworks or arts. So let's begin. Let's have first the visual arts, which covers three main subfields such as fine arts, decorative arts, contemporary arts. Now, this is Mr. Leonardo da Vinci, whose full name of Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci is probably best known as the famous artist who painted the Mona Lisa, which has hung in the Louvre Gallery in Paris for over 200 years. He was not just a great painter, Da Vinci was also a sculptor, an architect, a poet, a composer, a scientist, a mathematician, and an inventor. He was a genius and perhaps one of the most remarkable men that has ever lived. So this is the Mona Lisa. It's a half-length portrait painting by Italian artist Mr. Leonardo da Vinci, considered an archetypal masterpiece of the Italian Renaissance. It has been described as the best known, the most visited, the most written about, the most sung about, and the most parodied work of art in the world. So Mona Lisa is also called Portrait of Lisa Gherardini, wife of Francisco del Giocondo, Italian La Gioconda or French La Joconde. It was painted sometime between 1503 and 1519 when Leonardo was living in Florence, and it now hangs in the Louvre Museum, Paris, where it remained an object of pilgrimage in the 21st century. The sitter's mysterious smile and her unproven identity have made the painting a source of ongoing investigation and fascination. Now let's have the applied arts, which largely overlaps with decorative arts, and the modern making of applied art is usually called design. We have now the artist Mr. Leroy New, a Filipino artist, was received artist residencies in Singapore and Australia, was awarded the 13th Artist Award by the Cultural Center of the Philippines in 2014. Filipino artist Leroy New recycles colanders, tables, and plastic tubes to create sculptural armor and transform ordinary civilians into otherworldly beings. Featuring various personalities who practice on the fringe as its models, Aliens of Manila is a futuristic cyber-sci series that plays upon the idea of offbeat characters who thrive in the age of the urban landscape. So this is one of his projects, which calls Aliens of Manila. And yes, Leroy dresses the capital civilians as an alien creatures interjecting and inhabiting public space. Leroy New, initially trained as a sculptor, blends theater, fashion, film, production design, and public art. He graduated from the prestigious Philippine High School for the Arts before continuing his fine arts degree at the University of the Philippines. So Mr. Leroy's earliest form of arts training was at the Philippine High School for the Arts, where he gained experience making sets and costumes to performance art majors. So one of his artwork is being worn by Miss Lady Gaga in the year of 2011. Next, we have the performing arts, or arts such as music, dance, and drama, which are performed for an audience. This is Miss Honorata Arang Dilarama Hernandez, a national artist for theater and music in the year of 1987. She is a singer, by the way, a queen of Kundiman and Zarzuela in the year of 1979. So Miss Honorata Arang Dilarama, a national artist for theater and music, was formally honored as the Queen of Kundiman in 1979, then already 74 years old, singing the same song, Nabasag na Banga, that she sang as a 15-year-old girl of Zarzuela, Dalagang Bukid. So this is the Zarzuela. Atang became the very first actress in the very first locally produced Filipino film when she essayed the same role in the Zarzuela's film version. She calls the role, though, of an orphan in Pangarap ni Rosa as her most rewarding and satisfying role that she played with realism. The stage sparkling with silver coins tossed by a teary-eyed audience. So, Atang firmly believes that Zarzuela and the Kundiman expresses best Filipino soul, and even performed Kundiman and other Filipino songs for the Itis are Negritos of Zambales and the Sierra Madre, the Bagubos of Davao, and other lumad of Mindanao. Next, let's have the literary arts, include poetry, journalism, blogging, and creative writing. I choose artist Jose Rizal, which full name Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonde, considered as the national hero of the Philippines. A nationalist polymath during the tail end of the Spanish colonial period of the Philippines. He is considered the national hero of the Philippines, by the way. I said it anyway. He is also a man of letters who was an inspiration to the Philippine nationalist movement. So one of his first novel is named Noleme Tangere, a novel in year of 1887. He produced it in the year 1887, which a Latin for Noleme Tangere Latin for touch me not, with an acute accent added on the final word in accordance with Spanish orthography, is an 1887 novel by Jose Rizal during the colonization of the Philippines by the Spanish Empire to describe perceived iniquities of the Spanish Catholic friars and the ruling government. Next, the gustatory arts of cuisine are types of art in terms of food called as food decorating and food plating. I choose Mr. Guy Fieri. Now, this is Mr. Guy Fieri, an Emmy Award-winning chef, the most mainstream famous chef. Fieri is an Emmy Award-winning chef, as I said earlier. He owns 3 Californian restaurants and also licenses out his name and infamous Flavortown catchphrase to restaurants across the country. His name carries so much weight because of his 2 long-running TV shows, Diners, Drive-Ins and Dives, and Guy's Grocery Games. He even hosted many TV game show. And this is one of his dishes, which named roasted spaghetti squash with kale and parmesan. He makes it as a healthy dinner at home, just like you did. And one of his own recipes is this one. Yeah, just as flavorful recipe with an oregano, garlic, and red chili flakes. That's all. Next is for the video game art. It's a subset of game development, creating the artistic aspects for video games. One of the most well-known video game designer, producer, and game director at Nintendo is Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto, a Japanese video game designer, producer, and video game director. So one of video game that he has is this Super Mario. This is the Super Mario illustration. So Super Mario. So this video game is one of his notable work and platform game. So that's all for today. Thank you.